Smalls, what's going on, my friend?
What's happening, Mr. Palmer? How you doing, sir?
We have all-star studded cast on Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast. We have Monty Jean, Carolina Dirt, Mr. Jerry Urso, Patriots fan. We won't hold that on you, though. You know how that go. I got to slide that. Mr. Choppers, T. Small in the house, Scott Roach in the house. He's not that kind of Roach, folks. He's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? T. Small, how you feeling?
I'm feeling beautiful. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hey, since we all together, we might as well stay. We talking under the tree.
That's what I'm talking about. We're going to get right into this thing in the hell with all the bullshit. We have some trouble at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and we want to talk about it and hear your views of what's going on. My personal opinion, we haven't seen this kind of chaos in my lifetime. You know, I wasn't born in the 1800s. From what I was told, something like this happened in the 1800s. I'm sure, Jerry, you know a little bit more about that. But this is the first time that I've seen a ruckus and that type of thing that has taken place in America. So I'm going to start with you, Jerry. We're going to have a little roundtable discussion and bring it back around to everybody. And everybody feel free to chime in because we have to get the views from the people. So, Mr. Jerry, without further ado, go ahead and do what you do. How do you feel about all this, ruckus that's going on that happened on January 6th?
You got to turn the mic on.
I don't think I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to turn your mic on. There you go.
You got me now?
Yeah, we good.
Yeah, we got you.
So the Capitol had never been captured since 1814 during the War of 1812. Let that sink in for a minute. Then the Confederate flag had never flown in the United States Capitol ever. And then we had someone running through the Capitol with the Confederate flag standing in front of a portrait of John C. Calhoun, which was a Confederate.
Right.
The biggest thing I find is like all this attack on Black Lives Matter, all the attack on the Antifa, right? So if you remember, like during those riots this summer, everything, nobody was allowed to deflect, right?
Correct.
Happened in the Capitol. Oh my God! Well, Black Lives Matter did this, and Antifa did that. Right. Listen, they attacked the Capitol building with our legislatures in session, trying to stop the progress of an electoral count, which was constitutionally mandated. The Vice President of the United States mandate electoral college, okay, or the electorals. So this was a direct attempt to stop the political process of mandated by the Constitution. So the same people that are always talking about the Constitution, the same people that are talking about states' rights, if it doesn't fit their narrative, then you have the built-in excuse that it's okay.
Correct. That is correct. I want to play a little clip. In my opinion, this egged it on, and let's let me know what y'all think.
I'm here to protest this corruption. We want to stop the steal. We want a free election. We want Donald Trump in office.
So can you explain what happened today?
Today, we come up here to the Capitol steps. Tried to get in the Capitol. They started gassing us and macing us. We kept trying to hold the line and go up to the state Capitol. We want to be heard. That's all we want to do is be heard. Nobody wants to listen. They want to gas and mace us.
Go ahead. What's going to happen, do you think, after that?
I don't know. I think they stopped their vote in there. They evacuated it, what they said. So I don't know yet. I hope they overturn this and at least give us some days to find out about the corruption and prove what happened.
Wow, that's deep. Mr. Choppers, what you think about that?
Oh man. I love how everything in this world now is kind of navigated by whatever hot button word you use. And that clip right there was just a perfect example of hot corruption. See, I'm drawing a blank because I'm on the spot. But either way, they use these hot button words and never really give it any kind of foundation. What corruption? Because clearly at least half of the country didn't want him to win the first time. He lost the popular vote. So if he lost the popular vote the first time and he loses this time, we accepted it then. Why not accept it now?
Right.
We weren't happy either.
That is correct.
You're right.
Small, piggyback on that.
Man, I was trying to figure out what he talking about holding the line. We want our voice heard. I think that's the reason why we go to the polls and vote, right? You know what I'm saying? To get your voice heard, you go to the polls, you vote. It's the reason why they couldn't come in the Capitol building, man. That's a government building. You just can't come in there like that. And then I guess from what he's trying to say, I guess from them protecting what they got to do inside there, they taking the certification of the electoral votes. That's something that the outside public has nothing to do with. That's just like Jerry say, it's mandated. So you mean to tell me you're trying to interrupt that in hopes that it will alter the votes, change something? No, man, it just made matters worse, man. You know what I'm saying? The voice that he tried, that whatever they was trying to get heard, that's the wrong way. That's why you vote. You go out there and vote. That's why you vote, man.
Scott Roach, let me hear you, brother.
I couldn't even see the video, it was froze, but I mean, as that day was unfolding, I was thinking about how both of my grandparents are both World War II veterans, and I really wish I could have asked my grandfather what he thought about happened actually during this entire presidency and during the day of it, because he is pretty much a no-nonsense type of guy. So, but he's not around for me to ask him anything about that. It's just, I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. You know what I mean? My jaw was just dropped when I'm watching this on my way up to South Carolina on my phone when they were breaching the Capitol. I just couldn't believe it.
It's like, what kind of patriot are you? I need to understand what kind, because I'm a veteran of the United States Army.
Right.
Who?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, what kind of patriot are you? These are simple questions that need to be asked. Everything's being convoluted by some type of agenda. The Kaepernick knee. There's not a whole lot of talk about that now.
No,
those are the people. Those are the same people that flipped their shit because he took a knee.
Yeah.
Right.
I just got simple questions.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Bonnie Jean, chime in. Go ahead.
So I thought it was really interesting. If you look at the video, watch the video, he really believes, he truly believes, and that's what's scary, is he really believes that there was corruption in the election, that there was voter fraud. And see, I think when you fact check that, there is nothing found other than clerical errors and things that was corrected. And I'm sure there's a little bit of voter fraud in every election we've ever had. I don't know, but it's really interesting how he really believes. I mean, I think he really believes that he's doing the right thing, and he's loyal to Trump, his followers, right? And so, if you look at that behavior, he doesn't understand what he's doing is wrong, and that's what makes it scary. Is because they think they're entitled, and what they're doing is right. And they're just trying to get people, they want to be heard. You heard him. I just want to be heard, right?
Right.
So what he's not understanding is that even though the facts are clear in their face, they're not going to see that. He's not going to see that because he already has a biased opinion and he formed his own opinion, right? So we could investigate it and investigate it and investigate it, have a revote, recount, and it's never going to do any good to these guys. And no matter what side you're on, you choose a side like that, your mind is now thinking you have biased opinions. So, I mean, and I don't remember, because a lot of people were upset when Trump won 2016 because he actually lost the popular vote, but he won Electoral College, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Did the left or Clinton supporters, did they storm the Capitol? I don't remember or recall.
No, they ain't did none of that.
No. We got to just watch TV and cried a little bit.
The Bernie bros got over it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Bernie people got over it in 3 days. These guys are a bunch of crybabies.
Wait, you don't remember that bumper
Straight
sticker?
up.
We don't care about your feelings.
Right.
I mean, wait. Do you remember that? 4 years ago, it said "F your feelings."
And
yeah, for sure.
What's really scary is that these extreme right groups, I think they do things out of fear, which is scary, right?
Yeah.
It's all fear.
Was it Roosevelt that said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself?
Yes.
Right.
And that's really scary if you think about it, because a lot of people will, because of fear, will act out based on fear. Like they will shoot somebody because they are afraid of that person, even though that person was harmless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their fear caused them to make that choice, right?
Right.
So you don't think rational, you don't think logical, you just jump the gun. And so they are afraid that the left is going to turn this country into communism.
Yes.
They're really afraid of that. They're afraid of their gun rights. Okay. They're afraid of so many things out there. I mean, right now it's race, it's a big issue, right? They're afraid.
Yeah.
And so that's
they're ignorant though, because what do they have to be afraid of?
Well, Lyndon Johnson said it best. Okay, so President Johnson said, if you can convince the lowest white man that he is better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. He'll even give somebody to look down upon, and he'll empty his own pockets for you. This is how this nation was founded in 1640. It was the same mindset in 1640 when they convinced those Irish immigrants that were indentured that they were better than the black slaves, and they created a race of people called the white race. There's no document in human history before 1640 in Maryland, Virginia, after the court settlement of Bacon's Revolt, that the word white race ever existed.
That is correct.
In human history.
The thing that puzzles me is this: they stormed the Capitol, and I've heard some complaints that Black Lives Matter did it. But as an African American, we can fight the wars and run with the American flag. When we come back to the United States, it's a whole different ballgame, and that's okay to do this right here. Yeah, it's cool to do that. And then they say it's Black Lives Matter. We are patriots when we do that. And they go to the Capitol and they put this up right here. But they blame this on Black Lives Matter. It just happened with January 6th.
Right.
And that's what we tired of, things like that right there. Mr. Carolina Dirt, how do you feel about that?
It's a lot of different mixed emotions. When you look at it, I agree with the fear. I agree with the entitlement. And when you break it down in layman's terms to majority of the middle class, some uneducated, it's to throw the rock, and hide your hand.
Right.
Black people have been fighting for certain rights and never stormed anything on DC other than Million Man March. They felt that loss to the core of them. They felt that to the core so much that they would risk their civil right. Not civil rights. They would risk their jobs, their salary for a man that cares nothing about them individually.
Right.
When you look at it, when you punch a bully in the mouth by winning the vote, they had no option. So they tried to show their strength by force. But what is stronger than voting? Regardless of how many gunshots you shoot, it doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that the country came together and is fighting for one cause, but they don't want everybody to be equal. But what is being equal? You're trying to tell me you're mad that I want the same pay as you and I graduate from the same school as you.
Right.
You're mad because a black man and a white woman got together. A white woman, a black young lady and a white man got together. All this stuff is the reason actually America was built, was coming together with different races. Right. So why put one at the bottom? We're not going to get any better. So for you to be pro whatever, but not fighting for the majority of the people, it's basically like this. If you're at the top of the food chain, which is white man, and everybody under you decides to fight together and moves up, that only leaves one spot for you. And I think they're scared of that. But it's the life that every other Mexican, Chinese at the time, Irish, every other race has went to being at the bottom of the food chain, except for them. Do I feel sorry for them? Hell no. Right. Because bottom line, from the day you're born to the day you die, you always have choices. And they're choosing to fight this when they don't have to. True that.
Jerry, I want to get to you on the top before you get into your little segment, Jerry. If anybody come at y'all cocky, and I'm gonna piggyback on what you said, Mr. Carolina Dirt, just ask him this question right here.
Who is you?
I'm going to play a clip, Jerry, and for all of y'all that happened on January 6th, and I want y'all to go deep. If I was on the podium giving directions and saying these type of things right here, I'll be in handcuffs straight up in 30 minutes. Here we go.
Let's have trial by combat. O'er the land of the free. Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
We'll pause. Protesters are in the building. Thank you. There wasn't anything you said. They're gonna stop us!
They want us down.
Is this America, Jerry? Go ahead, go hard, brother.
No. And let me say this. My biggest issue with these so-called patriots is you've aligned yourself with skinheads, white supremacists, neo-Nazis. Did you see the Auschwitz shirts?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Those are the okay. And then you saw the Confederate flag. But black people should get over the slavery, but they ain't got over that flag.
Yeah.
Right? All these guys that fought for their country are going to carry a flag or align themselves with a flag that was a treason to the United States of America. If you are an American veteran, you should be appalled when someone's carrying the flag of someone that attacked the United States of America. Okay, that's number two. I have no problem with Trump supporters, but be honest while you're a Trump supporter. And if you want, it's okay. Hey, he's good for what was said in the business. He's good for my stock portfolio. I can live with that. My problem is when you make for a man and you created an environment where there was no brakes on this runaway train, and the Republican Party is responsible for Donald Trump. Because if they would have put him in check every now and then, censured him, whatever, every now and then they could have pumped the brakes. But you allowed him to go on. Then you mad, right? Because when he goes too far and everybody's calling him out. Secondly, is that you had the right to knock down the doors, and then they're talking about that innocent white woman killed.
Yeah.
I don't remember Sandra Bland kicking in any doors when she was killed.
Right.
No, I don't remember Breonna Taylor going after the police and then was shot. This was in the process of banging and trying to get into doors while they were threatening to kill Michael Pence, the vice president of the United States of America. And then that's why the Secret Service or the Capitol Police took a couple of shots at that door, because they were trying to buy time to get Mike Pence. You know, his family was in that in Congress that day.
Yes.
And how many times Donald Trump checked on his vice president?
None.
Zero. He didn't care. He didn't care.
I don't dislike Trump supporters. I dislike Trump enablers.
Right.
And let me get that straight. When you can say and do whatever you want, right? And I'm tired of the Christian argument. Oh, but we're for abortion, right? First off, if that's your thing and you're anti-abortion, God bless you. That's what you want to do. But you have the most unchristian man on earth and deified him as the second coming of Jesus Christ, right?
Right.
So what was he a Christian when he was cheating on his first wife with his second wife? Or was he cheating on his second wife with his third wife? Or while he was cheating on his wife with the third wife while paying off a porn star, while he's bragging about grabbing him by the pussy, but he's the embodiment of Christianity? Give me a break.
And it's
that was a proper roast, sir.
Right.
That was a proper roast.
It's a known fact. They were coming in the Capitol building to kill Vice President Pence and Pelosi, among others. That's fact.
I think, like for me, the whole worst part of the shit, like you want me to be completely honest?
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit about the temper tantrum. I didn't give a shit that they actually breached the Capitol. It was disrespectful as fuck. Don't get it twisted. The thing that hurt me 35 minutes into this shit is, where is the fucking response?
They couldn't get in the proof.
Why did it take 3 hours? Cuz there's not that many more important buildings in the fucking world.
Right.
Why did it take 3 hours, cuz?
Right. Well, see, the thing about it is that's a good question, because the Capitol Police are totally different police from the regular police. They have their own security on site 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you mean to tell me the day they took off on the 6th of January, they're like, everybody go to lunch and just take off that day, huh? Man, come on, man. Really?
That's kind of convenient, because it's too convenient, man. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I think both sides see that, and so both sides are using that. You know, so as an emergency manager and talking to other emergency managers in that area and around the country, we all see that that looks very suspicious. Okay, and no matter what side you're on, if you just look, they had a riot that was going to happen. Everybody knew they were going to be there. These people announced they were going to be there. These guys are not idiots. So where were they? I think the DC police chief has a lot of answers to give to the people. You know, he'll probably be investigated. A lot of people are saying he's probably going to be fired.
Yes.
People died.
Yes.
People's lives were threatened. You know, that building was destroyed.
Trump supporters,
right?
5.
I wonder how much money that cost us tax people, taxpayers. You know.
And I'll say this: I don't know about anybody else on this call. I was not cool when they stormed that courthouse. What was it in Portland?
Right.
I wasn't
right.
I never supported that. I never supported burning that Target. I mean, you know, so like to say everybody supported all that stuff that's going on in Portland and Seattle and Minneapolis, that's wrong. I mean, I was upset from a different standpoint that it took years to convince Target to come into that inner city to provide a proper supermarket. Okay, most of these inner cities are food deserts, and all you have are these mom and pop shops that sell garbage and sugar snacks, and you know, to bring a Walmart, to bring Target, to bring Walgreens into these communities, and then the first thing that fell was Target. And I felt bad because it employed 90% of the black employees were black. You know, so nobody wanted to see that. And stop telling me that I supported BLM and I supported Antifa.
Right.
I supported people. I support Black Lives Matter's right to protest. I support Black Lives Matter's right to do anything they do. I've never supported overthrowing the government. I've never supported burning down a building. I've never supported burning down that, what was it, Wendy's in Georgia. I understand people get frustrated. We understand all that. But at the end of the day, if we didn't support that, stop telling us that it's okay for you to do what you did because we supported that. I don't know anybody that supported that.
If you actually look, you can actually find that a lot of the riots that were occurring that were blamed on BLM and Antifa, you can look at, there were some white extremist groups, Trumpers, Trump supporters, that actually dressed up as Antifa, posed as Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and purposely started burning things and riots just to get things going. And then they videotaped it, put it out there on Facebook and social media to say, look what Black Lives Matter is doing. Look what Antifa was doing. And there for a while, I kind of believed that until I started talking to emergency managers in that area. And they said that they did an investigation, found out that a lot of that was done by white supremacist groups.
Yes. That's
that posed as Antifa. You don't know what to believe. And now they're trying to say it's Antifa that posed as BLM, or excuse me, it was
Proud Boys.
It was Antifa and BLM posing as Trump supporters and white supremacists to storm the Capitol, but that was unfounded. So
they found one. There was one Black Lives Matter out of all them people that were in that building, right? And what did Fox News have? The star of the show was him. And he didn't do any damage. He will probably be arrested for, you know, like everybody else for entering the building. Yeah. But he was documenting what was going on. And I find that, like, Fox News found the one guy. I mean, he looked like Kane from Power, but
you can't look at something and think what you see is real, because we know everything that's on social media is bogus, you know. And we have the cancel culture now that if you speak out against something, people are going to cancel you and attack you. And that's sad because we can't even speak how we feel anymore.
That's right.
You can if you're not scared. Like you can if you're not scared. Like you're not going to vilify me because you think that I'm not going to give you that kind of power. Yeah, you can send me hate mail and all that other bullshit, but I don't have to open it. You know what I'm saying? So fuck being canceled. This is how I feel. You feel me?
I'm ambiguous. Best way to put it, like, Voltaire said during the French Revolution, he said, "I might not agree with what you have to say, but I will give my dying breath for your right to say it." But we're living in a time where the Trump's attorney today, even Parler, right, the right wing, ultra right media platform, had to mute him because he called for the execution of the vice president of the United States. That's just today.
Yes.
So, and the Supreme Court has already decided that hate speech and yelling fire in a crowded movie theater is not free speech.
Right.
Mr. Carolina and Scott Roach. It's been said to me, one second, it's been said to me, and I watched it on TV and I know the facts that some of the protesters were led in the building by police officers. And it's an investigation that some of them were retired police officers, some of them were active police officers, and a federal officer took a picture. You know, I'm going to play it before you answer. I'm going to play a clip and chime in, and on this clip right here, and let me know what y'all think about them entering the building, if they had some help or was an inside
Every time I'm done with the internet, some shit like that happens, and I know that it's necessary. I do, man. I love it.
Well, Scott Roach, what you got to say about that, man?
I'm not even catching all the videos that I'm seeing are froze, but so is an officer allowing what was happening in the video?
Nah, it was the guy trying to scale the fence and didn't quite make it to the Mario Brothers theme.
And also, they were being let in by federal officers also. And one of the officers took a picture with the protesters.
Selfie,
yeah.
Yeah, what you got to say? What you got to say, Carolina, man? He been waiting to voice his opinion, man. Let's hear what he got to say, bro.
No, I was gonna say, because that's the topic I was gonna go to. Okay. No matter if you look at MSNBC, Fox News, or CNN, they keep showing one clip, and that should tell you a lot. The one clip is the lone black security guard running away by himself. How do you run up 2-3 flights of stairs and nobody's there to back you up? It looks like he hit his radio a couple times. He dropped his baton, and there's still nobody there to back this man up. And by the time he does get help, it's 4 or 5 white cops. That man could have been beat to death with no help. Nobody knew where this man was at. I'm pretty sure that as soon as those people hit the building, there's probably radio calls. They're in this hallway. They're in this hallway. They're in this hallway. That man was by himself. If that doesn't speak volumes of white people / protesters breaking in and leaving that one black security guard by himself to fend off that many people, that should tell you a lot about how a black man walks through this world. Whether he goes to this job and gets hired by himself, there's multiple white people or whoever judging him as soon as he walks through that door. This man's life was on the line. And I don't think they even said his name on the news. No, but that man, technically, he was in fight or flight, but he knew he had to do a job. But behind doing his job, he knew he had to get home. He had to get home. When he woke up that day, he didn't realize he was going to fight for his life. And at that moment, I knew deep down in him, where is my help? Is anybody else thinking about me right now? You got a riled up couple hundred people coming at this man. He's by himself. And you expect this man to hold it down by himself. And he understands the type of people that are coming in. Yes. And it's not even just enough that they're coming. It's the type of people that are coming. Rally.
Right. The officer who got killed, I'm sure, Jerry, you could do a little segment on this too, and everybody else. President Trump never called his family. I think he was around 42, 43 years old. He was a Air Force Reserve.
Yep.
Something like that.
Veteran,
yeah. He never called a man's family. That's total disrespect.
Trump has never treated vets worth a fuck, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
he never was one, so he don't know how it feel.
I got way more sound bites of his in my head of him saying some supremely ignorant shit to or about a veteran than I can think of patriotic things he's done in the name of veterans.
Right.
I think it's very offensive to veterans because Trump, he got out. What did he say?
Bone spurs.
Drill spurs.
4 times. 4 deferments.
Right.
No, I'm first Army myself, and some people, they're not cut out for it. He's probably not cut out for it, but he doesn't speak for veterans.
You know what he was doing when he got those 4 deferments?
What was he doing?
For his foot, playing baseball. He was on a baseball team.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and I cannot wait till they investigate this. Hopefully, they'll fully investigate everybody that was there.
Yes.
So we can all get the facts of what happened, what was going on, who these people were. There was one guy. I'm in Arkansas. There's one guy that actually was arrested by the FBI and he's being investigated. He's from Arkansas. I can tell you, he's not Antifa or BLM.
Right.
That's the guy that was in the seat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the office.
Right. No. Yes. Correct. Yeah. And what's also interesting is they're constantly throwing up this whole race thing, this race war, and I think both sides may be using it to their advantage in one way or the other.
Right.
And, I mean, and they're talking about the flag. I think it was Carolina who brought up the flag and Civil War and stuff. And what people are forgetting is that Black people in America were treated way worse in the 1960s in the South. It was horrible, horrible, horrible the way they were treated. And that wasn't too long ago. That was in some of our lifetimes, our parents' lifetimes.
Right.
And that's horrible what they went through and how they were treated. Mississippi, Louisiana, the corruption. And that's what we need to, as citizens, we need to hold our politicians accountable. Okay? We don't need corrupt politicians in America. I mean, we're supposed to be anti-corrupt, against corruption. Yet, a lot of our politicians are very corrupt. They're not held accountable.
But they're using the same playbook of exactly 150 years ago. So if you heard Ted Cruz when he was talking about the election of 1876, right, and how they had 2 sets of electors, and he made that big thing of why they need to do this. Why was there 2 sets of electors? They wouldn't seat African Americans,
correct,
who had legally won their duly elected position, whether it's United States House of Representatives or the Senate. I mean, so you have so they want to have 2 sets of electors because from the time Reconstruction started, there was a scheme to suppress the vote. Because if the Black vote didn't matter, why have people spent 150 years since the end of the Civil War trying to do everything they can to stop that vote? So, after the Civil War, they started with the Black codes. Then they started with, then they started contesting everything, right? So the first African American ever elected to office was a guy by the name of J. Willis Maynard from Louisiana. He actually won his seat in the House of Representatives, but wasn't allowed to serve. Then you had Rebels, Smalls, and Josiah Walls from Florida, the next election. And what did they do? They contested Josiah Walls from Florida 3 times. Every time this man won a duly elected election with his, certified by the state of Florida, they would take it to the Supreme Court each time. And each time he never got to finish his terms. So then what did they do? They started saying you had to be a landowner. Then they started having poll taxes. Then they started having literacy tests, right? And then when that wasn't enough in 1920, when the women got the right to vote, did you know African-American women outnumbered white women 4-1 at the polls?
Correct.
That scared the bejesus out of the establishment. All of a sudden, from Red Summer of 1919, right? So you got the Tulsa race riots, the Elaine massacre in Arkansas. You have You have the Rosewood riots in 1923, the Ocoee massacre in 1920, the Perry race riots in 1921. You have the Wilmington massacre. It's always been politically motivated because African Americans were successful. In Jacksonville, Florida in 1901, African Americans owned more land in Jacksonville, Florida than whites. They had the largest percent of the population. 4,000 black women went to the polls in 1920, and what did they do? They did not allow them to vote. So we really want to have this conversation about voter suppression. We can have this conversation. The problem is the Republican Party has not won a popular vote but one time since George Herbert Walker Bush beat Michael Dukakis. They've won the popular vote once. So there's no such thing as these landslide elections. They have not taken place. If they give back all the electors, Trump only wins by 2 electoral votes, okay? So what had he done since he got first elected the first time? What has he done to reach outside of his base? Tell me what that has been. So what have the Republicans done to reach outside? You feed your base, feed your base, you feed your base, you feed your base. Right. You got the most loyal base in political history. What have you done to grow outside of that base? So please spare me the landslide election thing.
He stayed inside of his base. But before we continue, we have to pay some respect to the fallen federal officer who got killed inside the building. The president did not call his family, but we're gonna play a 20-second clip for him. Real quick.
Did y'all notice that they flew the flag half staff for him at the Capitol, but not at the White House?
That is correct. Yes,
they did today. White House did today. They finally did 3 days later.
Yes.
But go ahead.
I'm gonna play a little 20-second clip to show him some respect because the president of the United States didn't give you any of your family.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long.
President Ryan's sidekick.
That's heartbreaking.
Yes. The president of the United States didn't give a damn and call your family and just say I'm sorry, no nothing.
Let me ask y'all this: How do y'all feel about if you sitting at home, you're sitting at home, and you're a reservist, you're anything. Do you answer that call? And if you answer that call, how do you handle it?
What's the call?
Right. The call is to help. We have a riot. Well, you've been watching. Technically, you've been watching.
Oh, you probably had people whose family had to stop them from going to the Capitol. Yeah. This is like, and like I said, I'm just to take a whole nother angle. For right now, black people shouldn't have to do shit. You feel me? And I'm not saying don't go to work. You gotta do your job and all of that. But let's let these people work this shit out. You know what I'm saying? We clearly haven't been invited to the party on this first set of rules that have governed and ruined millions of fucking lives. So there's so much that needs to be cleared out, man. Like I said, conspiracy theories are what? Nobody responding. Those are government officials that make those decisions. They have to go. As far as I'm concerned, if after that fucking rally, whatever the fuck you want to call it, happened, if you made the left to go to the Capitol, if you turned your body facing that direction, you should go to fucking jail. Like, let's be real about this.
You know, and these riots get crazy. You know, there's a BLM protest in my area, and my daughter asked to go to that. And I applaud her courage to want to support everybody.
Right.
People, I mean, but I didn't allow her to go because I knew those things get really bad, and there's people that shouldn't be there. And I just wanted to be a piece of history and watch. But you're not wrong for that. People are going to get hurt. I had to protect her. So my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, senior in high school, was mad at me. And then, you know, people were maced and people just act stupid. You know,
This is the thing.
They had a veteran. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No worries. I respect your decision not to let your daughter go. Everybody is not qualified to fucking protest. I'm sitting on this show with you guys and I'm smoking a joint. I'm not ready to run from tear gas or none of that shit. So I do want to take the time as like we a generation that are giving these young people a hard time.
Right.
But they activated in a place that they were needed.
Right.
Do any of you remember? Oh, sorry.
We can't forget to give that credit. Those are young people facing the police, man.
Yeah. You're right, man. You're right. They had a chick, man, that she was actually a part of she was in the Air Force, a 14-year veteran Air Force in San Diego, I believe. She flew all the way to DC just for that, right?
Right.
And I think her family urged her not to go or something like that, or whatever the case may be. And she was actually with the group that was forcing their way through the doors, and she was one of the first ones, I think, that got shot.
Yes.
And she didn't die right on the scene, but I think she died either in the hospital or on the way to the hospital. Now, she's a 14-year Air Force veteran stationed in San Diego, California. And her parents, to this day, cannot understand why she even took part in what went on in D.C.
T Smalls, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. They are drinking the Kool-Aid. They believe this man.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And I'm not a Trump hater. I'm not a Trump hater.
Okay.
I'm for the truth. Okay. No matter what side. I see both sides sometimes. But these people are drinking the Kool-Aid. If you look, she was coming through a window. And if you know when the police have their weapons out aiming at, they don't know if she had a gun. She was coming, through a window. I'm sure they said, stop, 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 hands up, hands up, hands up, and she may not have complied because in her mind, because she drank the Kool-Aid, she's got a mission to complete. And she may have been innocent. She may have been, completely innocent other than my mission is just to get here so we can be heard. So that's sad. That tells you that we have got to take a stand against the corruption.
What makes that higher? What makes you higher than law if you can break in to a building on federal grounds? If you're kicking my damn door, you about to lay down. So if you're on federal grounds, and you kick in the window and you're climbing through the window, there's no way you can be right because you want every other race to abide by all the laws. So what makes you above the law? Her line was, they had a clip, and I know it's on World Star, where she was spazzing out through a video talking about Kamala Harris this and fat and all this other stuff. But if you go knocking, and nobody opens the door, you try to go through that door, you got to expect to get laid down.
Right.
How many of you remember Walter Cronkite?
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Okay. Do you remember we lived in a time where they used to just report the news?
Yes.
Right.
And Donald Trump isn't the problem. We have to have an honest conversation. Donald Trump is not the problem. He's a symptom of a far greater problem.
Right.
And it started with Sarah Palin, right? When John McCain picked her, you could be as outrageous as you want. You can say the craziest stuff and you can get away with it. And that was the template, right? But we have, if you watch CNN and Fox News, they take shots at each other on every newscast now, right? So you have the right-wing media calling out the left, right? So if you support the right, look at this, look at that, CNN this, and MSNBC that, right? And then if you on the left, you call out Fox News and all these other agencies because we don't have news anymore. We have opinion broadcasting, and people tap into whatever fits the narrative that they want, and we're not allowed to think for ourselves because we're being fed. So being fed by they're not journalists. Rupert Murdoch and a lawsuit had to come out and say that all the TV shows that come out after 6 o'clock on Fox News are opinion shows and are not news shows.
People don't know that though. They don't know
Right.
that it's just opinion and it's for entertainment.
And the same thing on CNN. Sometimes,
I
even
tried-
though I lean a little bit more left than some, I mean, I'm still for the Second Amendment and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but I listen to some of that stuff and some of that foolishness sometimes, and I'm like, no. But we have got to change the extreme. We have to exterminate the extreme left and the extreme right because they are polarized the whole country, and everybody thinks they're right. You know what I'm saying? There's no, we don't live in a period of moderation because I'm a moderate. What news broadcast can I watch? There's no such thing as a moderate news program or just an honest news reporting program out there that doesn't spoon feed me the left or the right.
Society lives of what the media feeds us, man. That's how society lives, man. Some people actually believe in it, man. And then you got people, you know, some
But
people
you don't
who just
have to
look at it
live
for
like
what it
that.
is. Right. You don't, man. A lot
People don't understand that
there's money.
the choice
money
of
made in that. I'm sorry, Chops. There's money to be made in
no,
that.
but
And these viewers, I mean, if you're watching this stuff, you're guilty. You're just, if you're listening to the gossip, you're guilty, you know, like of creating, of causing a bigger divide in our country. So if you follow the money, you can see they're making more money. They're getting more viewers when they talk about trash.
Right. Well, yeah, everything is definitely for retail. You can sell all you got to do is stick a price tag on it and it's for sale. But I think if people understood how they are contributing to their programming, like this algorithm is a real thing. And it's why YouTube knows why you like the occasional fucking puppy video. You feel me? You keep feeding in there. All you have to do is type in a couple of things. If you search for 50 different things, the rest of your life is set.
Yeah.
So I had to stop my crazy because at one time it was too much Trump. It was too much Trump. I got to hear the next crazy thing. And then I began to go crazy. So I filter in a couple more puppy videos, right? And I got a lot less Trump shit. You feel me?
Right.
I filter in some DIY shit. I got a lot less Trump, right?
Right.
Maybe I got a 67 Chevy I'm working on. I got a lot less Trump, right? Stop giving a fuck about everybody else for a second and get back to the things that make you all right. Right now, this is about humanity. We at a level now where it's desperate. This is about humanity. You feel me? Because there are going to be people that are continuously going to feed themselves the far right shit and the far left shit. So now it's about appealing to common sense, decency, and humanity. The only way humanity stands a chance going forward is if they wipe this shit out. The rules that we have been living by, we don't live the same life that they lived in 1640.
Hey man, they need a hell of a lot of toilet tissue, boy, because it's a lot of shit.
Bro, you have to destroy.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. If you look at the majority of the people on the right, they think that's communism. You know, they think that's socialism. They think when you try to stop voices, it doesn't matter what their opinion is.
This is where I'm at, right? So we know what the far left is, right? And we know what the far right is, right? Which side is gonna fucking hurt me? That's where it goes to the humanity thing. I don't think that we should all be fed the same fucking vegetables and we live the same fucking. I don't believe in socialism. I think that there's a lot to be said for what capitalism is, but it can be fine-tuned, and it doesn't make you a socialist. because you want to fine tune it.
Don't you find it ironic though that the day Donald Trump announced he was president or running for president, he came down. Remember, he came down the escalator,
Right.
and the first thing he did was attack immigrants, right? And then did you find? Here's the thing that killed me about that. Why are the immigrants here? Because nobody want to do the jobs that they do. If you go, how the hell are you gonna get Mexicans to go to Iowa? They were. You remember there were 2 Republican farmers from Iowa that were running. I think they were in the Senate or the House of Representatives, right? And then they're the ones that got caught. Trump supporters got caught employing illegal immigrants in Iowa. It was either Iowa or Kansas, right? So they're here to do farmers' jobs, but we always have to. The whole point of politics now is we have to point our finger at somebody and tell you who to hate. And people are buying into that. I don't hate Trump supporters. I don't like Trump. I don't like Trump enablers, because I think if the Republican Party put their foot down a few times on Trump, they could have tampered the brakes a little bit. We wouldn't be where we are. But we also have to look at Trump tapped into something. He tapped into something to get them people to love him as much as they do. And what is missing over there? And then at the same time, we have those 74 million people that feel like they're maligned, but we also have 81 million people that voted the other way, and we're supposed to just ignore them. And it's might is right is what is the rule of law we're living in right now. And we've got to come together. We've got to stop it. We've got to find middle ground.
And you know, everything was being politicized, Jerry. You know, you brought up the immigration.
Yeah.
What happened to it? Did it just all of a sudden stop and it's not a problem anymore? It's
because the wall was that important.
Everybody's falling for it. They're falling for these political traps. Stop falling for traps, people. You know, I mean, you don't see it on the news anymore. Where's the caravans? Where's, you know, I mean, and it was being used as, it was being politicized as a political weapon.
I'm going to drop some nuggets real quick. I'm going to drop some nuggets as far as immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Most folks want the immigration. You're always hearing this, go back to Mexico. Let them go for, say, 90 days, 6 months. Guess what's going to happen? When you go to Walmart on aisle 6, you know I'm going at with this. Your ass going to starve, whether you like it or not.
The bottom of the total.
Yeah, I'm not here to say who got here legal or illegal, but that's who's doing the farm. When you open a can of canned goods, that's who picked it for you. When you open a can of corn, that's who picked it for you, whether we like it or not. When you grill your steak, chickens, they're the one doing the farming. That's how you eat. So you can take them if you want to. Maybe it's right or wrong, whatever you believe, but take them all the way, and you won't eat anymore. I'm gonna drop another nugget. We've been warned before number 45 even took office. I'm gonna tell you who did it. We've been warned. We didn't listen. I might not agree with his policies, but Mitt Romney told it all, and he stood his ground. He said it from day one. He never swayed back to do a switcheroo. He said Donald Trump is a phony and a fraud. He never backed down from that. God bless his soul. George Bush's daddy, George Bush Sr. said it before he died. Nobody listened. He's a prominent Republican. Colin Powell said it. Nobody listened. George Bush Jr. said it, and nobody listened. When Joe Biden won the presidency, George Bush's brother, Jeb Bush, was the governor of Florida. He was the first one that congratulated Biden because Donald Trump made some remarks against his wife that's Hispanic, from what I was told. So he came on with some comments quickly. He did it real fast. These are prominent Republicans. They said it. Are you going to go against them? I mean, they said it. Mitt Romney was going through the airport maybe yesterday or the day before. I don't know if you've seen the news clip. He got harassed. What's the guy from South Carolina? Lindsey Graham had to have security. Yep. On the airport,
he switched out all the time.
Yeah, he's a switch hitter. But on the airport, he's getting harassed. I'm just saying.
More ways than one.
Right.
Right. Hey,
can I one side of the plate.
Yeah,
don't forget about the McCain family in Arizona. Don't forget about them.
Yeah. He's disrespecting John McCain, General Mattis.
Tom Cotton.
He's a respected general in D.C. What do you, Scott Rose? Scott Rose, go ahead, man. We just rambling on. What you got to say, man?
I don't even know how the hell Lindsey Graham got reelected. What's going up? What's going on up in South Carolina? Jesus.
He's the best politician I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. Lindsey Graham is the best politician. He is good at switching. He went from a Trump hater to a Trump lover, back to whatever work Lindsey Graham is on. Is your man.
I'm not a big fan, but I don't really know him. But I started researching him, and he's got a really amazing story. And so, his past and where he came from he had a hard life. And so it's really interesting. And so I don't know. I need to look it up. He was a Trump supporter. Is he not supporting Trump anymore?
Not now.
Graham.
Yeah, not now.
How do you feel about
last time I checked, man, they had everybody. They was like run. Hey, they was running. They was like, hey, man, they had people resigning from his administration, saying that he betrayed the presidency. They didn't sign up for this and all that. Man, don't run now. They take all the smoke. You want all the smoke.
Was there any confusion about him betraying the presidency? Yeah. Is there any confusion on the panel?
Nah.
Right so, now. Bonnie,
yes.
How do you feel about Tom Cotton? Because he represents you, right?
Right. So the last I heard is that he is no longer supporting Trump, and he's a big, big Trump supporter. But he actually he announced that he is no longer supporting him. That surprises me because he went to bed with Trump.
Him and Mike Pence, right, have been the most loyal Trump supporters from day one, right? And let's just take my feelings about Mike Pence to the side. If you're a Trump supporter and you saw what he just did to Mike Pence had no legal authority to do what Trump was asking him to do. He could not do it. You cannot. The vice president of the United States, when he's serving as the president, his role is to call the rolls. If someone from detested, and then they from the House of Representatives, and they get one senator, then they could discuss it for 2 months and 2 hours, and then it's voted on by the two bodies, right? So he had no authority, and then to call that man out, and that man is being hunted, and his family was there. Think about how Mike Pence's wife and kids are, that knowing that he supported Trump so heavily for the last 4.5 years, and his family heard. They want to use the word lynch Mike Pence. And there was a gallows outside set up for him.
How do you even get all that shit out there on the spur of the moment?
Yep.
How do you get that shit just on the spot?
Hey, man, after the shenanigans, man, on January 6th, dog, I'm trying to tell you, dog, everybody running now. Everybody trying to save their hide. That's all that is. They want to save their hide now.
Let me ask y'all this: like growing up, my pops was in the military, so we moved around. You don't look at race.
Mm-mm.
You just see that 13-year-old dude down the street. His mom make nice lunches. You spend the night over there once in a while. You grow older, you hear things. Textbooks wise, going through school about Black History Month and all types of stuff. And then you get older. The fact that you get older, now you're starting to choose your own ways. You're trying to maneuver your way around life now. And for me, I went to a predominantly white school, but then in college I went to a predominantly Black school. So my way to move around, I feel like I have a superhero power, because a lot of people can't turn that shit on and off. If they deal with one person, that's what they deal with, and it can mess them up from dealing with somebody else because there's a gap in the conversation. Yeah. My dad is 65, 66. And he's one of those people, you can tell me what you read in the book, but I'm going to tell you what I live. And right now, in these last couple of years, that's going to be gone. So all we would be having to rely on are the people that write books, because the people that were in it are going to be gone off this life within several years. And that power that we have to say, no, sir, no, teacher, that's wrong. My great uncle said that this really happened on this plantation.
Right.
Right.
So there is no more fight like that part of the fight of correcting. Because if you don't correct young, the old don't care. So you have to start at a young age in correcting. Because if you allow the young people to take whatever information I got and manifest into something bigger, we are where we are right now, but it's going to be 2030. Yeah. But if we can catch at a young age, we're not saying Trump's allowed people to be open with how they feel towards other races, other business transactions, and all that.
In a negative way.
In a negative way. And now with the virus, kids are going to school. School is so important to a person, a young adult, because that's how they find their ways. That's how they know I'm with this social group. I'm with that social group. You know, I hang with him, but not her. Well, he's gay, but she's gay, but they don't like each other. So I'm gonna hang by myself. Like, all that stuff matters, because when they get of our age, that's when you're saying, are you right wing, left wing? Are you really worried about this tax bracket? Are you really worried about this on the news? Like, the people that can tell us the stuff's on the news and tell us that it's wrong, which is our parents and people older, so people over the 60s, those are the people we need to draw from for the correct information. We can make anything else in between connect.
Right.
But for the cone, for the heart of the information, we're about to lose that.
Right. Now is the time. Now is the time. If there is going to be any correction, it has to come now. Like, we on the edge now. We on the edge now. Like, I'm 44 years old. The last time that I talked, we all know what the Civil War was. There are people that conversate about this shit every day, cuz. They converse about this every day now. That impending Civil War. This is our opportunity right now to correct it. I don't care that you're a Trump supporter. Nobody deserves to be disenfranchised or hurt or anything. But for you people that are acting out on just what he's saying, that you're gonna lose your ability to be white all of a sudden. I don't know. I really don't. I haven't figured out what the argument is.
Well, he went at the people that's in the trailer park.
I mean,
he sold them a dream.
But that's neither here nor there. Like Jerry said, like
he sold them a dream to if I tell you you can make $100 million, you're gonna be like, man, I'm making $100, whatever. You tell somebody less fortunate, they're gonna do whatever they can, and they see that as loyalty, which it ain't, to fight for the same thing.
I get that. What I'm saying is, you got to stamp out these factions, cuz you ever pulled up like pedophiles in your neighborhood? Do you see how scary that image looks?
Yeah.
It's the same shit for extreme right-wing groups. You feel me? If you start looking for them, they are everywhere. So now is the opportunity to start stamping that shit out. There's no way to get evil off of the planet.
Right.
If there's an issue that needs to be handled right now,
right,
stomp out these little factions of fucking Proud Boys. Stomp them into the fucking mud.
I agree with that.
That's the only way we're gonna have a chance, cuz.
I just want you to be true to who you are from the beginning.
Oh, I'm glad he said that, because if you look at these Trump supporters, I have more respect for your true Trump supporters than these politicians who flipped, because that just shows you their honesty.
Yeah.
They're fake. They were only supporting Trump for their political gain, their selfish gain.
Yes.
I need you to be true to who you are.
Backing on top of what Chop says, right? The Republican Party is the one that started gun control. Let's have if you want to have these honest conversations, let's have an honest conversation. Because of voter suppression, the Black Panthers stood in front of a bowling booth to protect that bowling booth, and it scared the bejesus out of the establishment. And that's why California, under Ronald Reagan, started these Second Amendment causes, where when it was convenient to keep guns out of black people, on legal guns out of black hands, right? Then that's where all these gun rights lobbyists came out of, but nobody was defending the Black Panthers back. I don't remember the NRA coming to the Black Panthers' defense. I don't remember the NRA coming to Philando Castile, right? I threw away. I had been a member of the NRA since I was 18 years old. And after that episode, I threw away my NRA card and I went to USCCA, right? And it was because of that, because then they were starting to ask, they went on all these vacations and asking for all this money, and they were doing all this stuff, and then they went broke, and then they gonna hit me back up for money because they were having these lavish parties. You know what I mean? Stop it. Stop the foolishness. And we've got to get to a place where there's honesty, but there's no such thing as honesty anymore. And we can't have an honest conversation. Like
you can have it, but that's one thing I'm telling you. You can have honest conversation. Tell me who you are before the conversation. Don't ride with me on a conversation. Not you. Don't ride on me with a conversation, and we speak, and you be like, in your mind, you be like, oh, he ain't feeling me. If you have a problem, you state your problem. Me and you can talk about it.
People ain't ready to do that, man.
So
People have agendas.
So
people ain't ready to do that.
But that's what, if we're all grown and we all make choices. Regardless, in the end, it's all about choices. If you really want to hear, if you really want me to hear you talk, this is a perfect platform. If it wasn't this platform, if we was all in line at damn Walmart getting buggies, just be true to who you are, because I'm gonna call you on that a day later, 2 days later, or 3 days later.
Does anybody on this panel support Antifa?
No.
And who?
I don't know who they are. What are those?
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you what they are. They are privileged, rich white kids that are mad at their mommy and daddy for having money, and they have these orange and green haircuts. They go to black neighborhoods, tear shit up, and then when the shit hits the fan, they flee and go home to mommy and daddy again. And let's just right, but Trump supporters label everybody that we support Antifa. I don't know any friends of mine that supported that nonsense in Portland. I don't know anybody in law enforcement. And let's face it, 40% of law enforcement in this country is African American. I don't know anybody. I had a real good conversation with Representative Val Demings, right? Right around the time before when she was still being considered for vice president. And one of the and during our conversation, she was talking about how the most stupid thing she ever heard was defund the police. It was the most stupid bumper sticker. You just gave the enemy reason to attack, because it was, if you want to have retraining of police, that's a conversation. But you know damn well we can't defund no police. That's stupidity.
Words have power.
Exactly.
And people didn't understand. Whoever decided to trademark that as what we needed, what people were talking about. I don't believe in I'm a veteran, guys. I'm a second generation veteran. I do not believe in taking police off the street. And I smoke weed. I don't believe that you should take them off the street. But you have to explain to me why you need a tank. You don't need a fucking tank. Come on, man. You need a tank for a city outside of a minor major city? You need a tank for that neighborhood? That's what defunding the police is, man. Let's stop giving you guys an unlimited blank check every fucking year for you to go out there to have lasers against your community.
But I'm gonna drop a nugget real quick. I'm in other groups. I'm gonna go back to immigration. I'm in other groups besides Let's Talk Under the Tree. So there's other group. I know it's pretty much a lot of Republicans, backwoods, redneck, whatever you want to call it. So I know I was going into, the belly of the beast for a few minutes. So, I'm trying to, have a little conversation about what's going on. This dude told me I'm gonna be in chains. So I politely said, fuck you. Straight
Right.
up, just like that. And let's just make it clear on this immigration. If everybody go back to the courthouse, you know where I'm going with this. Check your record. You don't even have to go back that far. You're an immigrant that was born in America. But you always hear this my country, this like a kid want a cookie or a pacifier. Give it to me, my bottle, my cookie, my America. You're an immigrant that was born in the United States. So let's get that clear from the get-go.
It's a lot of things.
Rudy Giuliani and I have one thing in common. We're both second generation immigrants.
Right.
And what I really find funny about Rudy is this. My grandparents came to America the same time his did, right? My grandfather came over at 16 years old because where he's from in Sicily, the fascists took it over. My whole family was killed, and my grandfather came over by himself with no other family members, right? And my grandfather grew up in a time where he worked before there were unions, worked in those sweatshops. They used to have signs up that said no Italians need apply. Alabama, Louisiana were lynching Italians back then too, right? And my thing is, why would someone who has a history of being maligned would align yourself with white supremacists when that one generation earlier, those same people was denying your family their civil and equal rights? I mean, Rudy Giuliani at one time was supporting the Anti-Defamation League. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I find the irony, right? Like these descendants of immigrants are so anti-immigrant.
Yeah.
It just baffles my mind. Like, I would not be here if it wasn't for immigration. If it wasn't for that Statue of Liberty, my 16-year-old grandfather would have been in a refugee camp somewhere in some other country somewhere. You know what I'm saying? When Sicily was being invaded. So how can I hate someone else that wanted the same rights and freedoms that my grandfather saw?
Why does anybody care? Why? That's one of the things that, like, right now the whole entire world is marginalized into whatever group you can fit in. You feel me? This shit is not rocket science. It's about the human condition. Cause do you want to try to survive? That's it. That's it. Like, it's gone its way up into politics and economics and all of these other things that we know are fucking broken. So if they don't reconstruct it now, bro, this is the smartest the human race has ever been. We about to get this shit over to Skynet. You feel me? Like, this is the smartest we've ever been, cuz. Why couldn't we use that for good? Like, I'm tired of having the political conversations about police kill people, white police kill people, black police kill people, and it's fucked up. Like, let's stop trying to fine-tooth comb this shit. The problems they're fucking huge. They're huge.
But I think the problem also is because everything we do is microwave. Everything we do is microwave.
Yeah, we want it right now.
We microwave food. We try to figure out the fastest route to get to where we're going. We want many downloads in 2 seconds. Like, we don't want to take the time. And the time that can be taken other than this, and with, I don't know everybody's age on this, is you sit back and talk to an elder. That's what slows it down. That gives you something different, because after our elders are gone, the only people to tell the story are the young people out of college writing these books.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people don't have elders, cuz coronavirus has done that. Coronavirus are getting them elders out of here quicker than a motherfucker.
But that's what I'm saying. But so while doing that, that's when we got to take our notes. That's when we have to realize what real history is. You got to think, growing up, going to school, everything was Christopher Columbus. And now you be like, man, fuck Christopher Columbus. I know it wasn't him.
Bruh.
But it's a lie that's been told so many times in your life. And it's just like, no black person will be president. It's a lie that's been told so much in your life. And then they said, well, you have to be in service. You had to do a service before you could be president. A lie, because Donald Trump never did service. Like everything that we can take from other people of older age, we can take that and we can modify it, and we can do whatever we can to generate not nothing new, but something substantial. That's all you want. You want something substantial. Everybody wants. I want this.
We
I want
need
that.
something.
I want this. I want that. They don't even know they
We
want
need
that.
something new, bro.
That's what
But
I'm
we
saying.
need something new in terms
That's
of
what I'm saying.
the human condition.
Yeah, if you take the knowledge from the older people that 50s, 60s right now that are not for racism and for racism, the people in the middle, that is our energy when it comes to politics. Because after that, none of us have been hosed down in front of a ice cream shop. None of us has been driven across the Mexican border in a bus for 2 days in no bathroom, but yet I'm selling oranges on the corner. Nobody's been shipped from China for 2 months in the same ship for 2 months with 5 other people to get here and fight for a green card.
Right.
Like those are the stories that need to be told. Those stories need to be told, not written down. They need to be at least told. Because if you write them down, there's always going to be somebody with power that could change those words.
I'm going to piggyback on something real quick, and I want everybody to give their last opinion. I'm going to go back to history, something you said. During the Trump administration, he was highly pissed off about the statues being torn down. They call it history, whatever the case may be, but they don't read. A lot of people do TV politics. I'm not going to say which statue this is that said these words, but one of those men in the statue said, and I read it for myself, that beat the slaves until they turn blisters on their arm and get some salt water and pour it on there. So do you want that as part of your history? Excuse me.
It's already there.
Wait a minute. So ain't no way in the hell, Chops, you a big dude, about 6'2", what, 280?
Easy.
So all of a sudden, say 200 years later, your big ass got a statue downtown South Carolina. You representing history, but you just said beat these people until they bruise up with cuts and pour salt water on them until they burn. They say, wait a minute.
No, you got to understand it though. If you're doing that statue, you got to understand the power of the statue.
I know.
When you look at that statue.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I'm saying when you look at that statue, you got to feel that statue for what it is.
Right.
If there's one little cheek cry at the bottom of the cheek before it hit the lip, you got to understand why that was there.
And that's why the people was getting angry and tearing the statues down. We were young. We weren't born in the 1800s. They flipped the books, and they was wondering why everyone was so angry about these statues and what these people represented. That's the reason. It's their words and their writings, and they didn't want that to be a part of U.S. history.
You want the truth?
Yeah, go ahead.
So those statues did not go up until 40 years after the Civil War.
Right.
It was the granddaughters, right? And you had the granddaughters that wanted to rewrite history to make their grandfathers heroes. I mean, the craziest one was go on YouTube, and it's like a 1930 interview on the radio, right? And this lady like, and my grandfather was a benevolent sort. He let his slave have shoes. I mean, like, you should hear this nonsense, right? And it was like, so 40 years after the Civil War, you want to rewrite history. So they had the book called the Just Cause. Then we had the most racist president in history, Woodrow Wilson, right, who erased Black history. They used to have a textbook that was taught in schools called Colored Patriots of the American Revolution. It stopped to exist after Woodrow Wilson, right? And then you had the first movie ever played in the White House was, guess what? Anybody know? Huh?
Gone with the Wind.
Nope.
Coming to America.
No, what was it called?
Harlem Nights.
No, it was in
1917.
Woodrow Wilson was president. Oh my God. Birth of a Nation. Birth of a Nation was the first movie ever played, and it showed a white woman
Pennsylvania Ave.
from a Black rapist. I mean, that was the narrative, and ever since first movie ever played in the White House, right? You had this organization called the Grand Army of the Republic, which was the first interracial veterans organization, right? And after the last one died out, in the 1930s, you see all these Confederate statues going up, Confederate memorials and all that. And then we rewrote the actual history. Every single succession letter to the Congress of the United States of America mentions slavery when they succeeded from the United States of America. You cannot rewrite history and say it was about states. It was states' right to own a slave. Like, let's just have an honest conversation. And then this whole conversation we're having now about all these electors and all that goes back to the end of the Civil War when black people were not supposed to be successful. The whole point of this argument was all these slaves, after they were freed by Lincoln, nobody thought that they were going to rewrite the Constitution. Nobody thought they were going to run for office. Nobody thought they were going to be some of the most successful farmers in the United States. And people were flabbergasted, and they had to come up with a solution to the problem, which is Jim Crow. Right. So then, people's lands were taken back that they farmed, that they were even more successful than their counterparts. And so the playing field always has to be level because racial superiority is founded in racial inferiority. I don't fear no man. I will go up against everybody in this room or anywhere else with my intelligence, physicality, whatever. Right? I'm gonna go against anybody, and I'm gonna try to win whatever it is I try to do. Right? I don't fear you. These guys don't want to have to unlevel the playing field because it comes from a place of inferiority that they think they can't compete. So they have to prove that they're wiser, smarter, and stronger, and more righteous and more Christian than the rest of us.
Amen. Guess what, fellas? What you got to say, Scott? Take us out with a comment. And Bonnie Jean, real quick. Chops in Carolina. T Smalls, real quick. 30 seconds. Scott, what you got?
See you guys later.
All right.
I'm out.
Okay, buddy.
I got a little man. He's up running around right now.
I understand. God bless you, brother.
Take it easy, boss.
What you got, Bonnie? You too. What you got, Bonnie?
Thanks, guys, for having me. I just want to wrap up and say that all this stuff is being politicized. Really just look at the facts. I think we can all come together. We need to quit dividing our nation and quit listening to the bullshit.
Yeah, what you got, Smalls? 30 seconds.
January 6, 2020 will go down in the history as the worst day on Capitol Hill. I really do feel for the families that had to hear that their loved ones lost their lives for nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's better days are ahead of us, man.
What you got, Chops?
Hey, man, look. It's not a whole lot of shit that matters in the world, and I don't know how long it's going to take people to realize it. So I'm always going to speak again and again on the human condition. This is a short tour we have in this life. How you treat people matters. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Amen.
Y'all have a good night.
You too. Carolina Dirt, 30 seconds, my brother.
We all have choices, and within our choices, there's always consequences and repercussions. You best be ready. That's it.
Thanks for watching Let's Talk Under the Tree podcast. Trouble at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. T. Smalls, say a prayer for the country, man.
Yes, thank you, God, for this day. God, let January 6, 2021 be a time for people in this country to come together. We need to heal this country more than anything at this time and day and time. My prayers go out to the families that had to get that phone call that their loved ones had lost their life doing exactly what they supposed to have been doing, going to work and, being an American citizen. God, today that we need some help, just please bless the country. Let everybody come together as one. Bless everybody on this podcast tonight as they go their separate ways. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
T Smalls, you're pretty good at that thing. I like that prayer, man.
Hey, man. Thank you, man. It get better with time, man.
Yeah, real quick, Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
I got a big ass thumb, but you get a thumb, and Marcus, you hit us with the textbook stats. I give you a thumb for that. Yeah. No,
my brothers. That's why I look at it.
I feel the conversation, and when I've had conversations with non-black people about like what's going on lately, I always tell them, be who you are in the end. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a Trump supporter. Just be who you are. But also in the end, if a black person does you dirty, that doesn't represent all of us. Through that.
People are people.
Yeah, people are people. Like, if I were to see you in trouble, either one of y'all in trouble, I would help. Now, the next black man might not.
End the show.
Oh, I want to give them credit. I just want to give them credit, man.
He's long-winded like TD Jakes.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
Hey, he done went all of Chicago, huh? He done went to the Window City, huh?
Hey, Jerry, we appreciate you, man. You always got a home on here. You know that. Always. Bonnie Jean, we love you. We like that name, Bonnie. We can sing a song, Bonnie Jean. Oh, y'all got to help me out, Bonnie Jean.
In the show.
Bonnie Jean.
No, we're gonna take Bonnie out and put switch her name for Brandy on the OJs.
We love everybody. We love everybody wearing your mask. Don't forget, Corona is real, and we out, and we'll be hollering at y'all at another date. Peace out.
For sure.